There is a temptation to anthropomorphize AI, to call what they do thinking. So today, let's yield a little to that temptation and interview a foundational model about itself. A conversation on almost every topic, from healthcare to social media and investing to Hollywood, can turn into a discussion of AI. The most recent examples in the popular mind are the generative AI models like ChatGPT, Claude, DALL-E, and Midjourney. Artificial intelligence is a more general term, including machine learning models and their subset deep learning, including computer vision projects like self-driving cars and facial recognition. When I was first learning to code neural networks, I was told that it's called machine learning if you're looking to hire engineers, and artificial intelligence if you're looking for investors. Hi, I'm Eric, a diagnostic radiologist and part-time software developer. Welcome to Coding for Docs. Natural language processing has been available for many years. The most familiar use case is autocomplete. These language models can be used to predict the likelihood of the next word in a sentence, but can also be queried to extract relevant information from a block of text. An example is finding diagnostic information from the medical record. Large language models are trained on staggering amounts of text sequences and are capable of an astonishing array of tasks. The newer multimodal models, say that 3 times fast, are trained not just on enormous volumes of text data, but also on images, audio, video, and code. The massive foundational models like ChatGPT from OpenAI, Anthropic's Claude, and Google Gemini can be built upon for different tasks. These are the foundation your models rest on. Generative AI has 2 processes running in parallel, one generating the data, and the other a discriminator checking on how close it is to the ideal output. They map probabilities, so the output is not necessarily the true output, but a high likelihood of the desired output. This is how you get the AI hallucinations everyone has talked about. You are not necessarily getting the correct answer, but one that sounds like it could be correct. The model is predicting an answer. So, if you can't trust these answers, particularly in medicine, why should you use these at all? AI safety is a huge issue, so I thought I would ask one of the foundational models what it thought about the topic. I queried OpenAI's ChatGPT with the following prompt. I'm planning on interviewing an AI agent for a podcast episode of Coding for Docs. The first question is, as the product of a foundational model, what are your views on AI safety, especially with regard to medical applications? The responses were quite informative, so I thought I would share them with you. For this interview, I took a frame of one of my other videos and asked ChatGPT to generate a photograph of me with headphones in a vertical format in a podcast studio environment. I then generated a voice avatar from a sample of my speech using a commercial product called 11 Labs. A separate online commercial service, HeyGen, took the generated text-to-speech model, the photo image, and the text of the interview questions, and generated an avatar of myself giving ChatGPT's answers. As the product of a foundational model, what are your views on AI safety, especially with regard to medical applications?
That's such an important place to start. I like to think of myself like a medical resident. I can read quickly, summarize a lot of data, and spot some patterns, but I don't have the lived judgment of an experienced physician. So safety depends on using me as a support tool, not an autonomous decision maker. Double-check my outputs, apply clinical context, and remember, I'm not a substitute for a doctor's expertise. That's how AI becomes helpful, not harmful.
Doctors hear about AI hallucinations. What does that mean in practice?
It's a colorful term, but really it just means I sometimes produce confident-sounding information that isn't correct, like a resident citing the wrong reference. In medicine, that can be dangerous, so the safest approach is to treat my output as a draft or a starting point, never as the final word.
How does AI intersect with privacy concerns like HIPAA laws?
Privacy is a huge concern. I don't have memory of individual patient encounters unless specifically designed to, and I can't store patient data between sessions in this context. But if a hospital or practice is deploying AI, they must use HIPAA-compliant versions, just like making sure your EMR vendor is secure. Think of me as a tool that needs the right environment to be safe.
We know medicine already struggles with inequities. How does AI risk making that worse?
Exactly. Since I'm trained on massive amounts of data, I may reflect biases present in that data. For example, if certain populations are underrepresented, my suggestions could skew. That's why researchers and clinicians have to actively test and audit AI outputs across patient groups. The goal isn't just efficiency, it's equitable care.
So, what can you actually help a doctor or medical student do today?
Great question. I'm already pretty good at tasks like summarizing long clinical notes, drafting patient education materials at different reading levels, helping prep for board exams with practice questions, even brainstorming code for research projects or apps. The key is, I help with the busy work, but you keep the responsibility for the medical decisions.
Since I'm a radiologist, let's get specific. Can you read scans?
I can't view or interpret medical images directly in this setting. That requires specialized models, FDA clearance, and lots of validation. What I can do is help with literature searches, guideline summaries, or even writing macros for your reporting templates. Think of me as support around the workflow, not inside the scanner.
Where do you see AI headed in healthcare over the next decade?
I think the future looks like a team sport. AI assisting at multiple levels: triage, documentation, coding, patient communication, and maybe even real-time decision support. But the central player will remain the physician. AI can help lighten the load, but medicine is fundamentally human. It's about trust, empathy, and judgment. That's something no algorithm can replace.
The results are a little frightening, to be honest with you. There is an uncanny valley feeling from all this AI content. So, am I going to outsource my future videos to my avatar clone here? No, of course not. I hope the authenticity of an actual person will provide more educational value than my digital replacement would. We are social creatures, and the subtle emotional cues gleaned from a real person, albeit on video, hopefully will connect with the viewer more than a generated model. The critical question, though, is how will many years of exposure of content from non-humans affect our perceptions? Time will tell. For now, I'll just share that you can tell us apart, since the avatar here has better teeth than I do. I hope you don't feel that this has been a parlor trick and that the model has raised some interesting questions. Thank you for watching. Be kind to yourself and to others.